Morning all, how we doing? So, I'm always late on a Thursday. If you've been here for a while now, you know that. I'm always late on a Thursday, have a spin class. So I don't, never on time. How's everybody doing? 5 minutes to the open, 6 minutes. Morning Stevie, morning Ladder, morning Andy, June, Diamond. How's everybody? Thanks for that MA, Diamond. I'll have a look at that. And pop that in the group if it's a helpful one. Right, I've got a quick DAX that I took yesterday on at the moment. I got stocked out of my my DAXs yesterday. I took 3 DAXs yesterday aggressively. I had one stop out there. That was a scalp yesterday morning, which stopped out. And then I got 3 positions on. I got down to roughly 1% in profit on them. But I broke even stopped them here because I didn't know really what we were going to do. We'd had this push down in London. It wasn't particularly aggressive, the push, and then New York kind of started to reverse it. So I thought this looks like it might come back up, and it did. It came back up to where we entered the day. So I was obviously I'm playing the gap fill down to here. So the idea was either to get this run, and that would have been something in the region of 4.5% profit, or stop out on it, and it stopped out. So didn't get it on. So as we came up yesterday, we pushed up and we started to reject right to the end yesterday, just before the market closed. So I stuck one on just before market close yesterday in the hope that we might get a gap down, fill and run down to here today. We didn't. We got a gap up which has filled pretty much. Not filled yet, actually. It's a little bit further. But so yeah, so I've just basically got a position on short with a stop. It's 0.5%. So we'll see. I'm just looking for this gap fill basically. I still think that we're coming down, but we'll see. So I've got that on. I've got EJ short. I broke even stopped that as well yesterday because I'm still not sure on this yen. We had this big strong push on the yen. We got very exhausted. So what I didn't want to happen was to just wake up this morning up here somewhere. If we had, and we looked like we were bearish, I would add the position back on. So I broke even, stopped it, and we pushed up, and it looks like we're coming down this morning. So that's good. Euro Swiss, that's starting to come down this morning as well. And I've got my pound US dollar, which I made a nice amount on yesterday. I had aggressive drawdown control on this yesterday. So this was my very first position that I took. No, it wasn't, sorry. This was the add that I took on the drop. So I scaled in with my first position here as we started to push down. And then I had these additional positions here to add on as we approached. What happened was we had that collapse on the Monday, and it gathered me into both of them very, very quickly, and then obviously recovered. So I took this one off completely yesterday. Just move down so you can see it. So it's that one, and that one. So as you can see, I had an aggressive drawdown control position on here, up here, which I took off there. I had another position there, which I took off there, which is that one and that one. And then I completely removed this one. So that's a good example of how to use aggressive drawdown control. So this was an aggressive drawdown control position. The job of this position is purely to make enough profit to start reducing my risk on the lower positions. I still think we're coming down, but if we're not going to come down, I do not want too much size on too far away that I'm never going to get out of it. And obviously, as you can see, what it's done is it's brought my break-even average well within an ADR now. So I'm within reach in one ADR drop of getting out of the whole thing. So that was the drawdown control that I did yesterday. What else have I got on? That's it. Oh, oil, yeah. So I took an oil yesterday. This was a push. So yesterday's figures, we had OPEC meetings all day yesterday. There was talk of 1.5 million barrel cut. Then they went, we're thinking about 1.8, and they actually came out and settled at 2. So there's going to be a 2 million barrel cut starting in November. Then we had the inventories coming out yesterday, which are for some reason yellow, which is really annoying. But the oil inventories came out yesterday as negative 1.4, which is positive oil. So they were forecast to have 1.7 million barrels. They've actually an increase of 1.7 million barrels. They actually got a decrease of 1.4 million barrels. So that's also positive oil. So we had two bullish news events on oil yesterday. So I had a pending order sitting here to get gathered into. Here it was on a break of this high, yesterday's high. So I had a pending order here, got gathered into it, then it mucked about, and then it's sitting up here. We are very extended though. So obviously on the 4 hour, we are massively extended, but we've had positive news. So I think we will possibly get a pullback on this. But my outlook on oil, and as I said this yesterday, I just get the feeling now, there's a lot of the ratings agencies and a lot of the big hedge funds in New York calling 1 to 110 a barrel by the end of this year now, based on that output restriction in November. And obviously what's going on with everything else. So it's assuming everything stays as it is, we don't get any more pipeline restrictions, any more things blowing up, whatever. We should be looking for $1 to $1.10 by end of year, and that's only the next quarter. So I have a feeling we may have found the peak formation low here. Russia came out on the other side of the coin and said they would be happy, and this is this area that I drew on last week, they would be happy selling oil at $70 a barrel. So we've got the market and OPEC looking for a push, and we've got Russia happily sitting down here. So it's difficult to know which way this is going to go, but I'm bullish on it at the minute. So I thought I'll take one. I might regret this. It's only a tiny little position, but obviously a 0.01 on oil is still actually equivalent to my normal position sizing on everything else. So happy to scale into this, but I would be worried if we got anywhere down to sort of the $80 a barrel mark again, by which time, if you look at the ADR on it, that's 38. So where we are for my initial position, we got down to $80. We're looking at something like 2 ADR away. So I'll only have, 3, maybe 4 positions on down there. And by the time we get down there, I think we'll be ready for a pop. But I get the feeling we're just going to get this sort of price action and then an accumulation. So accumulation push on. So yeah, I got onto one of those yesterday as well. News-wise today, obviously yesterday we had the rates for New Zealand. New Zealand rates came out as expected. We had the PMI figures and non-farm yesterday, which were positive for US dollar. So all good US dollar stuff yesterday. The only news we've got this afternoon, which they've classed as red, is Macklem speaking. We've also got other talking heads today. Kuroda didn't obviously do my. I'll have a look at the news. I haven't had a chance to look at the news yet. We'll have a look at that in a second. But Kuroda was speaking this morning. We've got monetary policy meeting accounts from the euro at 12:30. And we got unemployment claims. So nothing today. No news. Yeah, just be business as normal today. Morning, Themba. Tomorrow is the big one, non-farm payroll tomorrow afternoon, obviously, and employment rates. Let me just quickly watch the DAX because I'm just taking a trade on my prop account. Five, 7. On. Okay. I've got this short on my prop account as well. Pretty much exactly the same trade. So that's the gap fill done on the overnight gap, which isn't very big this morning, but nice little trade if you took it. If you got in, it's always worth looking at the DAX exactly at 8 o'clock. Sorry, at 7 o'clock.
these quite often get filled. If they're small ones like this, they will quite often just get filled straight away, and you can get a nice quick move to the downside in with very, very little risk on them. You know, the first candle is bearish, stop above there and straight down. Really nice little trade. I wasn't here this morning, but I've got the same trade running on my prop account. I'm adding to it down here with a stop again right above these highs, just to play this gap fill basically. So I'm looking 125 ADR move. I don't think I'm going to get that today. You never know, might do. But that's the play anyway. That one running. So yeah, no news today. Non-farm payroll tomorrow. Let's just have a quick look at overnight. So what did Kuroda say overnight? Anything red? Nothing. Fitch Ratings changed the UK's outlook to negative and confirms the AA- rating. There we go. Good. Bad for the pound. Average inflation will peak at 8.9 and then gradually decline to 4% in 2024. Yeah, what's happening in 2023? Next year is important too. US sanctions, Australian trade balance. No, nothing from Japan. Orders. Okay, so nothing major overnight. Morning, Midgie. Morning, Rocky. What pair is that? What pair is what? Everything you see on my screen has got the instrument in the corner. Yeah. So whenever you see me switch charts, you'll see what I'm switching to. So, no news. So those yens, basically, I'm unsure on the yen still. At the moment, we've got a little bit of strength coming through on the yen across the board, which is nice. Not against the Swissy though. But nothing dramatic. We've still got no news. It's kind of radio silence coming out of Japan at the moment, which is a little bit worrying and annoying. But the trade I entered, this is the DAX, German DAX, German stock index. So yeah, so the yen basically, I've obviously, oh, what's that? So I just had you know that when your computer goes when it unplugs something. Just making sure that's not my mic. No. So this euro yen that I've got on at the moment, say I've got a break even on it at the present because I'm unsure on the yen still. So I took this one because I'm expecting a little bit of euro weakness. Euro is very extended. It's had a lovely big run, and it's due a profit take. And I was looking for some strength to come out of Japan to help push this down. So I was expecting a euro pullback and profit take move, and then I was hoping for some yen strength with Kuroda at the same time. We didn't get that yen strength. So I put the break even on this yesterday, just in case. Obviously, we know that everything has been pushing hard against the yen, but we are expecting that to change. So this reversal that we've had on H4 is just retesting now. Hopefully that's it. If it's not, I don't really want to be in this at the minute as a short, because I keep saying this. We hear a lot of hot air and a lot of talk coming out of Japan all the time about we are not going to let this happen. We're not going to do this. We're going to do that. And they never do anything. We've had the intervention news. And the market went mental, and then the market actually realized they haven't really done anything. So I'm so undecided on the yen. And when I took this trade, I was like, not sure, but I know the euro should be weak. So this is why I took this one. So I said, you remember yesterday or the day before, New Zealand yen. If you're going to take a yen pair, take one like New Zealand, like the pound, or like the euro, where we've had weakness, not taking things like the Swiss or the Aussie or US, where they've been massively pummeling it. So I'm not sure on these yens at the minute. So that one, obviously, I said that I've got a break even stop on it, and if it gets stopped out, it gets stopped out. Right, so just pushing up on DAX. Haven't triggered that second entry yet. That will be triggered down there. I might actually put that on this account as well. With a big old stop, and it's an add-on, so I'm just going to go 0.25% on it. Stick that one down there. TP down for the gap. I'm just trying to build a short. So let's look at the indices first. There's nothing much else to look at. So we've got no ADR hits today. We've got no H4 extensions on RSI today. We've got no hourly extensions on RSI today. We have got some RSI 14 extensions, but not a lot. As you can see, there's not a lot moving at the minute. So I will run through, I went through all the pairs yesterday, so I'm not going to do that today. But I'll run through the ones we've got there. If there's any pairs you want to look at specifically, obviously let me know. So DAX yesterday, we had this big bear run, and obviously I scaled into that, looking for the gap fill, but we didn't get it. We pushed back up, but we are on an inside bar now. So this is definitely a pause candle. So we had this big strong push, we had this gap up, big strong push. Yesterday we paused. So indecision in the market. We obviously know that indecision is followed usually by a move in one direction or the other. This morning we've gapped up. So as we've gapped up and pulled back down, if we basically break this low here, that would indicate that we're likely looking for a little bit of a downside run towards these lows. So we'll see what happens. If we push up and obviously out of these highs, I'll be out of that position because we are continuing the pullback. So we will see what happens, but inside bar is obviously indecision. So you could take a break of this low, and that would be a good little trade as well. But anyway, so not a lot of movement yesterday there. We had a little bit of an update on the US indices. Again, looking for this pullback. So we're still in this pullback at the moment. Don't know. We never know how long a pullback's going to last. You know, when you look at the last couple of pullbacks that we've had in the bear market, they've been like 3-day pushes, drop, 3-day push, drop. Then we have the odd rally, which takes us above the 72. Then we have a 3-day pullback, another little pullback there, another little 3-day pullback, 3 or 4 days. And that's what we tend to get. Then we get the rallies. This one, I suspect, if you look at, if we're going to stay uniform as we usually do, obviously from where we started the drop, we had a couple of pullbacks before the rally, a couple of pullbacks before the rally, a couple of pullbacks before the rally. So this is, I think, probably just a small pullback before the next leg starts. So somewhere around here, I'm looking, trying to get, this is why I like this gap fill on DAX at the moment. I think we're going to start to stall out somewhere around here and then drop. But, you know, market could prove to be completely wrong. We might start the pullback here, in which case, when we start getting anywhere up into the 200 levels, that's where you want to start building positions down. Because we're not stopped. We're not done yet. So yeah, all the same across the board. Same price action as you know, they always do the same thing. So all the indices basically, apart from the DAX who gave us an inside bar, just basically pulled down, and then the buyers stepped back into control. But they didn't manage to make any ground yesterday. We put in a higher high, but we didn't actually we didn't close above the highs of the previous day. So buyers are in charge, but they've got no strength. So we'll see what happens today. But so far, seems to be a little bit of weakness. So I'm looking short at the moment. We'll see where we go from there. That ADR dashboard looking so clean today compared to the last days. Yeah, I know. Very nice and clean at the moment. But we had a lot of ADRs yesterday. You know, so the Asian session's been quiet, but this could well light up today for any reason. But there's no news catalysts. So if we are going to get ADRs today, there'll be good ADR reversals, because there's not going to be any news catalysts, not scheduled news catalysts anyway. that's going to move the market. We may get something unscheduled coming on financial juice. And obviously that's why we keep an eye on financial juice. Kashido, it's not appropriate to utilize foreign currency assets held in Forex special accounts to fund an economic package. Whatever you say. So that's the indices. Oil, as we know, I've got that long on at the minute. Yesterday on oil, we had another update. Lovely. So, there's a lot. This does look like this might be the peak formation low. We just had a reverse alert on the daily previous day. We need to take out this high. So it's a lot clearer on the lower time frame charts that we are coming into, chop after chop after chop. Yeah, we've got to crack through a lot of chop on the way up. So it's going to be a hard task, which is why I think they're calling 1 to 110 before Christmas. It's not just going to go like that. It's going to have a hard task getting through all of this. This is pure selling, speculative selling. There's a lot of people short, which are going to want to stay short. And when they puke, we're going to get these nice big pops through. So, everybody that's shorting from this accumulation, they'll be getting out here. So you'll get a pop through when everybody that's shorted this has to buy to get out of their positions. You're going to get that pop through the top. So, but we are going to struggle to get through them. So it's going to be quite a tough run, I think. But oil's looking like a long at the minute. So, but we've had these before, haven't we? We've had these multi-day runs. Yeah, we have these 5-day runs on a regular basis, and then vroom, we start next legs. So we'll see. That's why this is a key point. If we can break this high here, this double top, and get above the 72, that pullback could well be the continuation. We've got no confirmation at the moment on the daily that is the case. So we'll see. But certainly looking for longs at the minute, personally. Although I might regret it because it's a new instrument for me. So you never know. I said I wouldn't trade this again. Oh, such a pushover. Right, so all the weeklies. Most of these weeklies have all played out. So things like New Zealand dollar Swiss. Obviously, we had the big push up, and then they've all sort of done their little drops. So a lot of these, if you got into these, that's actually not looking bad. That New Zealand dollar yen. So that extension was 250. That was, so that there was your weekly range extensions. So that was the trade. But a lot of these extensions obviously are still extended. Aussie New Zealand came on my radar again this morning. I'm looking to get in, I was looking to get into a long on Aussie New Zealand on a pullback. We're there again. So remember I said yesterday, couldn't get in on this because it was just too fast. Now we can get into this. The question is, do we want to get into this? Because the Aussies basically screwed up their rates and the New Zealanders didn't. So we're finding lovely support at this level. So this is a second rejection of support here. Likely to be where this is going to go from. But the thing that I'm struggling with is this. The Aussies haven't increased their rates by 0.5%, which is what the rest of the world is doing as a bare minimum. The inflation figures I don't know about, but there's obviously a reason why they haven't gone for the 0.5% increase. They believe that they're getting on top of inflation faster, which is why they've decided not to do this. They do historically have problems with employment in Australia as well, and obviously higher interest rates usually drives up unemployment as well. So I'm unsure on the strength of the Aussie moving forward compared to the New Zealand dollar, because the New Zealanders are jumping on top, and we seem to be getting a fairly strong New Zealand dollar. But saying that, it's almost got extended on the 4-hour. And as you can see, we haven't been down here for such a long time. So this is the real first opportunity we've got to get in to Aussie New Zealand Hasn't quite even got extended on the hourly. So it's, although we're in a pullback, it's not been a very fast getting extended, ready for that ping type of pullback. It's been pretty gradual on the way down. So this morning I was on the verge of sticking the EA on and just taking a trade, but I haven't yet. So we had the reverse alert this morning. Obviously down there, very nice little tight reverse alert as well. So I'm undecided. You're not going to get a 15-minute reverse alert on this because obviously this big move, and we're basically in inside range of that bar of this move since. So if you want to get into it, you need to just basically hit the buy button and get in. I'm really toying with the idea of doing it as well, but I've got other trades on at the moment which I really like, and this hasn't quite got the extension I want it to have. I want it to be, properly extended. I want to see this kind of strength move, and we've had like big wicks in there. We had nice big bullish engulfing going there. Then we had this massive rejection. So from strength of movement on the way down, it doesn't look like it, but it has actually been like that on the way down. It's not been like this, like boom, massive, big, strong move that takes RSI into extensions. So, but it's a good opportunity to get into if you want to take it. I'm not going to at the moment. The main reason, obviously, is because I still need to deal with this pound US dollar, which is annoying me. So, and I've got a fair decent amount of exposure on. I haven't got any Aussie or New Zealand on. But this is exactly where I wanted to buy it. If this was extended down here, if this was sitting at sort of somewhere between 20 and 30, I definitely would be getting into this. But what I'm worried about is this running into an accumulation and pulling back up into there, and then them starting a new leg down because the Australian interest rates haven't gone up and inflation has gone up at the same rate as it had, which means that the market is not going to be happy about this. We're going to see a weak Aussie and New Zealand catching it. So, but saying that, look historically at what has been happening with the Aussie New Zealand. It's the bigger economy, and typically it will always be the stronger. So, so there's an opportunity there to get into Aussie New Zealand if you want to take it. Apart from that, as I say, there's nothing hit ADR so far today. Anything that does hit today is probably a good reversal opportunity because we've got no news. The 4 hours, everything's starting to come out of extension. There's nothing really. The New Zealand pairs, if you look at these are close to getting extended. So you got to keep an eye on New Zealand dollar Swiss. Sorry, more like New Zealand dollar CAD. New Zealand dollar CAD getting close. Again, we got a fairly strong New Zealand dollar off of the back of that rate announcement, but even if it's strong, it's not going to be beating things like the CAD long term. So this is in a nice area for pullback. Again, not quite getting to where I want it to be at yet. I want it a little bit extended, but yeah, that's getting there, getting close. New Zealand dollar yen. That's very nicely extended. As I say, I'm on the euro yen short at the moment. This strength is coming off of the New Zealand dollar rate announcement, and it just shows you how weak this yen is still. If we had a strong yen and they were intervening to the rate that they do not want anything climbing against it, they're failing, aren't they? They're not doing it. So this shows you that the yen isn't actually as strong as it should be. So, but saying that, this is in a perfect spot for a short based on obviously what's been happening. But this was massively weak New Zealand dollar, wasn't it? We haven't got massively weak New Zealand dollar now, have we? We've got strong New Zealand dollar because of the rate change. So it's a very difficult one to trade. New Zealand US is getting close-ish as well. So if we get any US dollar weakness, i.e. indices pop today, we get up into here, I'll be looking for a short on that. We're going to get some strength coming through on the US dollar. So yeah, that looks like it's getting into a spot where we might be ready to start shorting it. Oops. All right. So this accumulation here for that break, that's acting at the moment. Next one's up here. So you're going to find support somewhere in that area if this doesn't hold. So again, an ADR hit to the upside on that. We'll take RSI extended. It will be a lovely short. So we'll see what happens. If we get a weak news US dollar today, we might get an opportunity to get in on that one. Apart from that, nothing on the 4 hours. Hourlies, flat as a pancake. The only things we've got extended on the hourly is if you're using the 14 RSI, we've got the pound odd. So these are obviously just faster entries. Obviously more risk, faster the entry, the more risk, because the less movement we've had, the less chance there is of a profit take. I wouldn't really want to be long in the pound at the moment. Pound obviously had a bad day yesterday off the back of good old Liz Truss not announcing anything. Here comes our bot, first time in the morning bot. So obviously Liz Truss had the Conservative Party conference yesterday. We were looking for the market to be settled by her words, basically. She didn't come out and say anything about the markets at all, or anything about future monetary policy whatsoever. So the markets obviously didn't like what she said, because she didn't say anything positive. So you can see, obviously, end of London session into New York, we just had that big 3 hour drop, which was lovely. And we haven't gone anywhere so far today. So all the pounds, really, I'm still bearish on them until future times when we get something bullish coming out of either Quasi-Quartet or out of Liz Truss. So this is an overshoot reaction because of the weak Australian dollar to that correction. Most of the pound pairs have corrected back, like the US dollar corrected back to basically where we were before the collapse. So we should continue business as usual. So I wouldn't want to take that long. And pound New Zealand, obviously, we've got a strong New Zealand at the moment, which is driving the pound down. So although that is nicely extended to the downside on the hourly with a 14, if with this time frame on the hourly, you're trading M5 entries off of hourly RSI extensions. So with these, these are scalp trades. So this 14 RSI, you're looking to get in on scalps really off of this. I wouldn't want to use it really for position trading. As I say, I didn't find an advantage in my testing on the RSI 14 giving you any advantage from a position trading perspective over the 21 really, apart from getting into more trades and potentially more squeezes, which are stronger. So it's not really an advantage. You will get good scalp opportunities spotted out of it though. Just about to get a reversal out on the hourly there. So this morning, anytime from basically midnight. So anytime during the Asian session today, you could have got into this because it was extended from here on the hourly. So, if you wanted to position trade this as a scalp, but I mean, waiting for a good reversal alert. Reversal alerts this morning on this. That one you didn't get. Started making a new low there, so you didn't get that one. Didn't make a new low. That started making new lows there, so that one didn't break. That's the first reversal alert you would have had there. So that would have been your first reversal alert this morning on the Asian session. And we've just done stop hunt W on the second one. So that's how you play these if you're going to take these. So you're going to take the reversal alerts, but they're scalps, so you need to be using a stop with them, really. But yeah, nice opportunity there. There's a lovely one there. So not gone far enough yet to make any money on it, but obviously pound, I'd be worried about long in the pound at the minute. Really would. especially with the New Zealand dollar being strong. Not really a good extension, is it? So yeah, nothing really. Unfortunately, I haven't got anything for you today. There's nothing exciting out there to be getting into on any time frame. But obviously, keep your eyes peeled on the dash if you've got it, on the dashboards. RSIs, obviously, if you haven't got the dashboards, just keep your eyes peeled on your RSIs and see if we get extended on anything today, if we get any decent movement. But the day before non-farm payroll quite often is a fairly quiet day because we're expecting a lot of price movement tomorrow afternoon. So it really depends. But if there's any pairs where we're getting close to liquidity areas where we've pushed away and we're pushing back up towards an area where there's going to be a lot of liquidity, we'll get to them quite often and take that liquidity ahead of tomorrow and pull back. So anything you see double topping, really, hourly charts is probably the best to look at. So nothing there. Am I going to find anything today? This sort of thing. If you see Euro CAD, hit ADR, for example, and then pull back, or you see it take that and then reject like this, yeah. Those are good little shorts potentially to take, but again, scalps. Take them on the lower time frames on M5. The reverse alerts. Make sure you get some alert to tell you that the price is actually moving the other way. But that's really what you're going to get today. So sideways movement, I think. Anybody got any other pairs I want to have a look at in particular? Anybody in anything squeezy that they're stuck in? Or glad I got out of that Aussie US look. I got out down there. Back to the, just not going anywhere. Look, totally sideways. Nice little range high short there. Look. Ascending triangle, likely to break to the upside. Again, US dollar probably weak. But yeah, I've got nothing else really. Euro yen. So you're pushing back up again on this one. Difficult to tell whether that's the yen or the euro. Looks to me like a weak yen. It's a weak yen again today. And pound US dollars not going anywhere. For now, I'm finding scalping the indices the easiest. Just don't have the feel for FX at the moment. Yeah. I know. It is one of those things at the minute. You're likely to get a lot of sideways on the indices as well today. Ahead of non-farm. They won't want to... whatever. We're likely to get another pause candle today. They'll probably take out the highs, maybe the lows. But I don't know. They may run for it. There's, from a news perspective, obviously the indices, anything that comes out of Putin's mouth regarding Ukraine or regarding anything is normally negative markets. We had a lot of news yesterday. Not so much threats, but Putin basically flexing his muscles a little bit about what's going on with the US. So basically the US have supplied weapons to Ukraine, obviously. The US sanctioned the use of those weapons on the Crimea yesterday, which means basically if those weapons were used on the Crimea by Ukraine, the US has intervened in attacking Russia. And obviously Putin's response to that was, this is very dangerous. So it's really in Ukraine's hands at the moment. Obviously, the Ukraine trying to take back those 4 annexed areas is an invasion on Russian soil. An invasion on Russian soil means that they are at war. Anybody backing Ukraine in a war against Russia is going to be an enemy of Russia. Therefore, it all starts to escalate. So you've got to keep that in mind with the indices. We've got a short bias on the indices, all indices. I'm just talking about scalping now because obviously Andy's just mentioned scalping on the indices, which is what I spend most of my time at the moment doing. I'm just hitting the short button. I'm not hitting the long button at all. If I'm seeing long price action, I'm really not taking it at all. So, I missed all of this. I missed all this on Monday. Monday? Where are we? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Missed all this on Tuesday. Because I just can't bring myself to hit the long button at the moment on any of these indices. We are in a bear market. I'm looking basically to get in short all the time because the short moves are a lot faster and harder and easier to make money out of. Every time I hit the buy button at the moment when I'm scalping, it's just a struggle. It gets there, but it's such a struggle. And I find you get whipped out a lot trying to get these long positions. They're like that. Whereas when it comes down, it's like that. And you just find you hit the sell button, and that candle after you hit the sell button that you thought was going to happen happens. You get to break even on it, and then you take your profit. And it's just so much easier to scalp short than it is to take longs. It just feels like that at the moment. But at any moment you could have any kind of escalation, and the market is so twitchy. Look, if you look at the fear, I don't know if I've got a fear and greed index at the moment. Yeah. And we've moved up actually. So we were in extreme fear. We don't get to extreme fear much. We were there last week. We're still in fear. So yeah, so that's what we were up until this one. What that means is the market, if you think of it as a twitchy index, anything that happens, any news event that happens that may or may not have an impact on anything, the market will flip like that, and it will just go, oh, pull it all out. And it's a knee-jerk reaction, which is why we get these big spiky candles which are getting undone, because the market is so scared of a collapse which could come at any time. They pull their money really fast, and because the liquidity is light, you get these massive spikes. So when anything like that is announced with the indices specifically, because these are obviously monitoring the stock indices, people pull their money out of the stocks because they don't know what impact it's going to have. And then they go, oh, actually, it's okay, just reinvest it again. And you get these moves like that, which are huge. When we see Putin saying anything, and if this does happen, this intervention that the US have done with these weapons, and they do decide to chuck a couple of missiles into the Crimea, Putin is going to announce that this is no longer a special military operation. It is a war. And this is going to collapse. This is why I'm short. On everything. And if you get stopped out 3 or 4 times, and this is why I'm using, normally I don't use profit targets. I will have a profit target on everything when I'm scalping it, but it's always a distance away. So I've just changed this obviously, but it's always a 4 or 5 to 1 at least. It never hits it. I always get out earlier, but if I'm using a 1300 stop, I'll use something like a 15,000 TP, because when that announcement comes, it's going to do that. Yeah, I don't want a TP here with a 3 to 1. I want to take advantage of that. And it can happen at any time. This is a prime example here. Look at the trying to long this little bit of a reversal there, trying to long that. You get a couple of up candles, then you get a bit of a retracement, then you get a little bit more of a push, and then it pulls all the way back fast, and then it gets this big candle up, and then we struggle to get any higher, and then you get these collapses that just happen a lot faster when you're selling at the minute. Obviously it does go the other way, but it just seems easier to short everything at the minute. It's a bear market. You get that move starting short on something, more people are interested in hitting the sell button at the minute than they are hitting the buy button. So you just get these moves happening faster. So yeah, if you are scalping on the indices, just be very careful at the moment. And, as I say, I'm looking short in everything index-wise. I get the feeling, we may get a continuation long. And if that happens, that's fine. This pullback could last another couple of days, which is no problem at all. But I'm still going to be waiting for that opportunity to hit the sell button, because there's much more chance of it turning around than there is of it flying up, I think, at the minute. But difficult times. But yeah, that's all I got, really, for you today. I've got this exact scalp is on my prop firm account as well. I say scalp, this isn't a scalp, this is a swing. So basically, I'm just looking for the high of the day to be in and us to push today. I won't take it. I might take it off. It depends how far it gets. But when we get down to here, I'll have a look at how much profit I've got on the position. And I'll make a decision whether or not I want to hold it. But as I say, ultimate hold on this at the moment is down to the gap fill. That's where I think we're headed. It may not. It may be a few more days. It might need to do that and then come down. I don't know. But we don't know which way it's going to go, do we? If we did, we'd be billionaires, cajillionaires even. The other thing to bear in mind as well is we've also got the Twitter purchase going through with Elon Musk. That is going to potentially rally the NASDAQ. Twitter's going to go for something like I think it's $54 a share or something. As soon as that acquisition is announced, we'll probably see that rise. So we might see a pump in the NASDAQ off the back of that Twitter news. And if that happens, obviously that might rally the markets as well. 54.20, is it? Yeah. Obviously, got to bear that in mind as well. When there's any large acquisition or something going on like that, you tend to get a bull day. You get a rally. A lot of stock will move around. So, if people want to get on board with Twitter, they need to pull stuff from other portfolios. So, you get a lot of jiggling around when this sort of stuff comes on. We're also entering into earnings season soon as well. So it's going to be an interesting month this month, the indices, and for the world, basically, especially for the pound. But yeah, that's all I've got today. So I'll leave you there. If you've got anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I will be in there all day. I'm just going to be managing these positions at the moment that I've got on the Euro Swiss and anything. I'll post anything that I'm closing for profit that we're in at the minute. Well, I'm in at the minute. I'm not looking to take any new positions today, but if I do take anything new, I'll obviously post it in the Telegram group. But I need I need a reason to get into something, and at the moment we're a little bit flat. So Aussie, New Zealand's the only thing I'd be interested in, as I say. But I kind of want this a little bit lower. If this drops any more, I'll probably get in this today if we can get an ADR hit, but we'll see. Musk had to work a marijuana joke into his acquisition. They're talking about charging for Twitter, aren't they? There's this app Musk is wanting to develop called X, and Twitter's going to become a key part of it. But there's lots of rumours flying around about what he'd do with it. But one of them is a subscription-based service, so you'd have to pay something like $2 or $3 a month to use Twitter, to basically get rid of all the trolls. But I think that will probably kill the platform. But I don't think that's why he's buying the platform. I don't think he's buying it. He's buying it for the user base. I don't think he's buying it for the platform. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But it was going to go through before and it didn't. So might do absolutely nothing. And likewise, if he suddenly cancels the acquisition of Twitter, there is a possibility that the stock price will tank on that, in which case we'll have a dump. He's buying it so he can stop being ratioed. What's that mean? I don't know what that means. Ratioed? Today. But yeah, I mean, who knows? There's always something going on under the hood when people buy these big companies and they do these big acquisitions. There's something somewhere in the company is worth the money, but it's never what we think it is. It's when there are more people mocking your post than supporting it. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Yeah, huge amount of money in data acquisition. Yeah, I mean, this is it. It's you imagine, the value of Facebook is in the data. Facebook knows everything about everybody. Why do you think we keep seeing bloody Greg Secker adverts constantly? Because they know we're traders. And you see the same old ads popping up all the time, don't you? Because they know everything about you. They know shit. It's weird. There you go. Look. They know me. Yeah. Oh, I've pinned it. Whoops. Unpinned. Sorry. Pinned it. Meant to report it. Why do I keep posting this in my channel? What was I going to say? I can't remember. No, it's gone. I was going to say something then about something to do with ads. No, it's gone. Can't remember what it was. Getting old. But yeah, anyway, it'd be interesting to see what happens. So keep your eyes on the news about that as well, because you'll see a decent move happening, especially in the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq will drag the Dow and the S&P with it, and typically that will usually drag the DAX. So could go up, could go down, but we might, that's assuming we get some news. There might be maybe no news coming out whatsoever about it. So, and there's no forecast news on the pound either. So the pound, I'm looking for a break of yesterday's low, a retest of yesterday's low, and hopefully a breakdown on that today at some point. But look at where we've gone in Asia, and look at where we are so far in London. We'll possibly have an inside session on some of this stuff today. Steve, you've just turned up. Morning from wet Spain. We're just going. Just finished. You're late. And there's a company that just follows CEO private jets and sells the data to the market as a possible precursor to a merger. Follow CEO private jets? Yeah, that's where all the money is. It's all in. It's all in the data, isn't it? The amount of money they make out of marketing, and knowing that was something I was going to say about, wasn't it? That was what I was going to say. To do with the marketing and the data stuff, I don't quite know how this part of the algorithm works, but you can find out what you're getting for your birthday ahead of. It's my birthday next month, right? And I have a little list that I give to my family and say, this is the sort of thing I'm after. And all of a sudden, without me having gone to a particular website, an ad pops up from a website for something that I've emailed to my wife that I would want. Yeah. So my wife has gone to that website on her tablet, and the ads from that website that she's visited are now appearing on my timeline on Facebook. So either they're tracking my email that I've sent to my wife, or they know because I live in the same house as my wife, I might be interested in what she's looking at on her tablet. But either way, it kind of ruins your birthday, doesn't it? How's that part of the algorithm work? That's, it's so unbelievably complex and clever, isn't it? I've said it to my wife before. I said, "You've been looking at holidays in the Maldives." Like, did you know that? I've just had a load of adverts come up on my timeline. I haven't been looking at holidays in the Maldives, but someone in this house has. So it's either coming from my router, from her device, or something, isn't it? But they're tracking stuff that is way beyond most people's comprehension, aren't they? And it's a sort of thing. I mentioned the Maldives, and she's like, "Oh, he's interested in the Maldives too," but only because I've seen an advert for something that she's looked at. Scary, isn't it? A few years ago, this company saw two CEOs' private jets parked next to one another at various airports over the course of a few weeks. And then shortly after, a merger was announced. Ah, that's clever. That's very clever. We'll be careful where you park your private jet. They must know about all this stuff, obviously. So anyway, so yeah, not a lot of movement this morning, obviously. So just might be one of those days today while we're waiting for non-farm tomorrow. So, but keep your eyes peeled. CAD later. We have got IVA PMI and stuff coming out this afternoon, but nothing that's particularly going to move the market. All right. So I'll be in the Telegram group if you need me. Anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, and I'll update the Telegram group if there's any trades I'm taking or anything that I'm getting out of. All right. And hopefully I'll get into that second position on the DAX and get a nice drop today. Have a good one. I will see you in the morning.